There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of an outdated indicator of Bitcoin. It says Bitcoin's worth about $70. No, it's about 10 times that right now, so there you go. But people are asking, hey, you know, what's Bitcoin all about? There's a good explanation of it, I feel, if a little bit outdated. We are on our next map right here, Yonsu, and we saw no early cheese, so we thought, you know what, let's let that finish, and let's show you a little bit about what Bitcoin is actually all about, since it's the thing that's fueling this tournament. So, here we are on Yonsu, and we've got a gateway opening here from NaNiwa versus a pool first from Scarlett.
Pool first... actually wasn't watching because I was waiting for the thing to start, but it's actually a very early speedling build from her. I'm not sure when exactly. It looks like it was probably 13 gas 12 pool. Not positive. And a gateway expansion from Nani, and this could be pretty bad for him. He's already dropping a pylon down the ramp. If he's going to be greedy, if he's going to not start a Zealot and just go straight for a Nexus, then the Lynx could just kind of kill him. And with a speedling open in particular, if the Lynx get into your base and things start to go bad, then just you can never catch up to it. You can never catch the speedlings. They just run you around until they whittle you down and the Zerg wins the game. But he is starting up the Zealot. And some Protosses will... Actually, it's pretty common for Protoss to cancel the Zealot in order to get your Nexus quicker, but he doesn't have a probe out. It doesn't look like he's going to try and do that. He's also getting a second gas, so it looks like he's actually playing a bit more conservatively, a bit more one-basey. So that could work out well for him here.
Yeah, he's got a second Zealot on the way here as well. NaNiwa clearly smelling something here.
Yeah, it's a good read by him. It's definitely going to pay off quite a bit. Although, she does have Lynx running around the map. If he loses one Zealot, that's the thing about these quick speedling builds. It's such an investment. If she doesn't do damage with this, the game's over. It's not completely an all-in, but a cheese for sure. So if he loses just that one Zealot, the speedlings are just going to take control of the base. And the Zealot's actually walking out on the map, and the Overlord saw that. Scarlett knows that Zealot's out there, and that his base is undefended. And this is really, really bad for NaNiwa.
Yeah. No Mothership Core has been started either, so even Photon Overcharge is not an option here. And NaNiwa's sitting on a lot of gas, so he can maybe bring a sentry or two in, but Warp Gate Tech isn't done. He's only got a single gateway. He'd have to build that straight up. Stargate at the front, and Lings are now going to make their way in, and as you say, 2-1 mark. There it is, and the Speedlings kick in just as they go up the ramp, and Nani just got a nasty shock.
He's chrono boosting out the Mothership Core, but not going to have Planetary Overcharge right away. And the Zealot falls. Another Zealot's across the map. It's not going to be able to do anything. Mothership Core comes out, but now we have a bunch of Speedlings against a handful of probes.
Good Lord.
And the probes are just dying.
Devastating. You know, we said perhaps there was a possibility of an all-in. Well, it looks like she had something in mind, and those probes are trapped. The damage is extreme already going on right here. Really nice probe stacking from NaNiwa to avoid most of the damage, but the Lings keep on coming. The Zealots are not helping out here. The pylons are going down. Everything's about to be depowered. There's no units coming out. He's relying entirely on that Mothership Core right now.
But back at home, the Zealot is actually killing off the Queen, and there was no Zerglings in production, so... Oh, but a good draft round from Scarlett.
Yep, nicely
and
done.
A little bit of misattention from NaNiwa, so that was the one real hope he had. I don't know, if we look at the income tab, it's 13 to 13. It's a very big investment from Zerg to actually do this kind of Speedling build. It costs you a lot. So she doesn't have the best fallback in the world, but Speedlings just give you so much map control. She killed a lot of probes already.
Yep,
Two Zealots out. NaNiwa's pretty much stabilized at this point, but where does he go from here? It's pretty tough.
Well, he lost his Stargate. He still has his Cybercore. He's been able to keep Warp Gate Tech going, so that's good. But a nice little snipe there by Scarlett to take a few more probes. I love the probe stacking that we saw actually from NaNiwa. It made it very difficult for those lanes to really do as much damage as they should have.
That was the only thing that kept him in this game. If he hadn't done that, he would have lost pretty much all those probes. Not really much of an opportunity to do anything else. As is, it's still pretty much equal worker count. The hatchery is just about halfway done from Scarlett. She has Speedling, but only the one Queen. Not a whole lot of other options to fall back on. So, and we do see two more gateways coming down from NaNiwa. He has Warp Gate Tech completed. Maybe he turns this into some kind of panic 3-gate all-in. I kind of doubt it, though. I don't really think he's going to be safe to walk out across the map, because he doesn't have any kind of wall in. He doesn't have anything to deal with any kind of Zergling counterattacks. So that would be a big problem if he decided to go for something like that. I think he just tries to put down a Nexus and expand and go into a macro game from here, because he is still relatively close in Harvester count.
Yeah, he pulled some real Helm's Deep stuff with that hold, I've got to say. That was really, really good. A lesser Protoss would have lost absolutely everything there, but even then, it still puts him in an awkward spot. The question is, will Scarlett be able to extend her lead further, or will she start to throw it away by bleeding off a couple of lings here and there, or giving an opening to NaNiwa to actually attack? Right now, she's not doing that, and she's maintaining map control.
Yeah, that third hatchery coming down. The Nexus hasn't even started yet for NaNiwa. Scarlett is going to see that. That might scare her a little bit. You see no Nexus yet. You think maybe he's going to do some kind of all-in. And I think at this point, he actually might be. He's warping in a lot of extra sentries. He could go for a Zealot sentry all-in, because he's not saving up money for a Nexus. And it's getting to the point where it's kind of late. Kind of, if you're going to make the Nexus, you kind of need to do it. Or you're going to fall way too far behind.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. He's sitting on there, but his economy wasn't that great to begin with, so he's not mining all that quickly. He's actually still building probes. He's still building things, which indicates...
That probe was a fake. He was hiding those sentries. He's warped in more sentries. He's going to go for an ult in here.
Okay, well, Scarlett just got a little bit of a sniff of it. Saw a good number of sentries at the front there.
Do have a Roach Warren coming down and Spine Crawlers, so she knows at this point. And the problem is, there's still no wall in there. He left a sentry behind to force field the ramp, but that's not an indefinite answer. And there's also 3 pylons out there sitting there waiting to be killed. And he's nearly pylon blocked, so he can't really afford to lose those. He wouldn't be able to keep warping in units.
Yeah, I mean, Scarlett's bringing in 5 spines, which is enough to kill this army outright several times over, assuming they actually finish. The force field goes down. NaNiwa does not make a mistake here. The spines are not entirely finished, but it's 2 zealots and a bunch of sentries, and that really is about it. Is now going to... I assume he's going to force field himself into the main base and try and take it out that way. That's exactly what he does.
The thing is, he just doesn't have very much DPS. He's not going to kill stuff very quickly, but he can force field that ramp almost infinitely. But with 4 roaches coming from the main, very smart from Scarlett to save the larva there, so she could actually get the roaches out. That's going to be able to clean it up. There's no pylon to warp in. There's no way for NaNiwa to get any kind of reinforcements in here. And those roaches are just going to pick this off unless there's some kind of miraculous force fields.
Well, let's see how good the tickles are. I mean, they're pretty good, but the problem is the roaches at the back aren't taking any damage here. Now they're finally doing it, so those roaches may die, but there's more on the way, and the Ling run by actually got in. The force field was imperfect. It gets the surround on the Zealot here.
Yeah, and NaNiwa has lost control of the ramp, so more and more units coming in. Actually, sending her drones back a bit earlier. Scarlett's losing quite a few of those to the sentries, but those lings are going to be a problem. They see the Stargate. They're going to be able to kill some probes, maybe run back out and cancel the Nexus. She'd love to be able to do that, but I think that might be out of the question at this point. And actually, the main of Scarlett still is not cleared up for some reason. I don't know what she's doing.
She needs more roaches, and she doesn't really have them right now. She's only got a single roach. She's building some more. This should be enough to do it. There we go. So she won't lose that hatchery, certainly. The force fields have been good, but NaNiwa loses his last Zealot, so they're going to go down pretty quickly now.
We were focusing on the circling counterattack, but while this happened, Scarlett actually sent a bunch of drones back to her main and lost them all to the 4 sentries. And if we look at the Harvester count, NaNiwa is actually ahead by 10 at this point, which is...
surprising.
Which is massive, because she's still on Lairtex. She only had... I think she only has 1 Queen. She has no Spore Crawlers, and then Oracle is already out on the map. NaNiwa's established 2 Nexus. He's actually in the lead right now, as bizarre as that is.
That's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd, but he pulled it off. I mean, that's incredible, so... Yeah. Well, the Oracle's on its way, and suddenly it's going to say, oh, all right, you don't have any Spore Crawlers. Well, I'm going to have a few of your drones. Thank you very much.
He has to worry about a counterattack, though, because a lot of Lings and some Roaches are coming across the map, and he right now has 3 Zealots and a Sentry, and that's not going to deal with that. He does have a Void Ray on the way out that will kill them, but Scarlett could get in there and do some damage in the meantime, because she's not going to have anything to hold it back. It's just going to be the Void Ray sitting there hitting them.
Yep. Oracle takes a good few more drone kills. The Roach is on the way, but as you said, there is a Void Ray, and the Lings were sent in a little bit early. I guess they were trying to get past, but she sacrificed them all and didn't do anything with them. This is starting to get really concerning here for Scarlett, in my opinion.
This is actually very, very bad now. There's not a whole lot she can do. With those Void Rays out, the Hatchery Tech Aggression is just a non-factor from Scarlett. So there's still no Spore Crawlers out, so that Oracle can keep hopping in and out, killing off a few drones here and there. Just getting all that scouting information. NaNiwa knows exactly where he stands, a little bit in the dark. She doesn't know if he's going to do a Void Ray Warp Gate all in, or if he's going to expand. We do see that he's dropping a 3rd Nexus, but she's still completely in the dark. Just everything is going NaNiwa's way somehow. I don't know what took her so long to clear out the main there.
That was a little surprising.
Should have been just fine for her, and I just don't know what happened.
Yeah, the 4 Roaches weren't enough. I think perhaps she made an assumption there, and she wasn't able to bring the Queens up since the Force Fields were still there. Possibly, but yeah, she took more damage than necessary, and sending the drones back a little bit early was slightly overconfident, and she lost a bunch of them. She is now in the lead. I mean, she's still sitting on 3 hatcheries, don't get me wrong, so she's not out of it, but you were right about the tech. She's only just finished her lair.
Yeah, Lyris just finished. The third Nexus is already over half done for NaNiwa, and Zerg is supposed to be significantly ahead in Harvesters at this point, not 6 ahead with a third Nexus already done, or almost done. So economically, NaNiwa has a significant lead on this game. Upgrade-wise, Scarlett doesn't have that going for her this game as she did on the Belcher game, at least. That kept her alive there. We have +1 weapons coming for NaNiwa, and 1/1 upgrades just now starting for Scarlett. Not even started yet, actually. She's just going for Roach Speed. She had a Hydra Den and she canceled, and it finished. She might be going for a Roach Hydra all in here. I don't know. It's not a good position for her to try and extend the game. But I also don't think she has the opportunity to attack here. I think NaNiwa's army is just going to be too big with the Void Race.
Yeah, I mean, there's already 3. A 4th one is on the way, and the ground weapon upgrade as well. Templar Archives being added in, as well as a couple more gateways. It's incredible that NaNiwa got here from that position. He's been called by many people the King of Holds, and I think that that is absolutely right, although at that point, he actually held his opponent's main base rather than his own, and that was what was really impressive about it.
Yeah, it's not to be underestimated how risky, how all-in-y the Speedling opening is, but she did enough damage to justify it. Like, it wasn't game-ending. He still had quite a few probes coming out of that, thanks to his really good probe control. But, I don't know. After the units ran into the main, Scarlett got the run-by and whatnot. It really should have been her game. I don't know. Very impressive from NaNiwa to be able to make the best of this. And now he's getting up into that Void Ray, Zealot, Templar, Archon kind of composition that's really, really strong. And that's his go-to for the mid-game, CVP. And a lot of Protosses like it, but he's very, very good with it. And Scarlett just going Roach Hydra. There's not a whole lot to work with there. You either have an advantage and you can do a timing attack, or you don't, and she doesn't. So unless NaNiwa does a really dumb attack here, throws away a lot of units, he's just kind of going to be in control of the whole thing.
Do you think if NaNiwa were to leave Scarlett alone on 4 bases, that this could start to swing in the other direction? Do you feel that NaNiwa is actually forced to attack in this kind of situation, or can he really just sit back on 3?
Well, we have a Spire about to finish. We know Scarlett loves her mutas. She is saving up resources, so I think that's what she is going for that. She starts up the mutas immediately. So if he doesn't start up Phoenix production, then yes, he does have to do a timing attack. He has to go with his Archons and do damage before the mutaball gets too big. But if he gets out of Fleet of Phoenix and just keeps control of the muta count, then no, he's under no real pressure because he has the better economy, the better tech, the better army.
Free Mothership Core. Nice grab there by Scarlett.
That's a nice little bonus. That's something at least. That does make it very hard for him to attack because it's very risky. You just don't have the recall open to you, so any attack you do it could end up being an all-in that you don't want to take. So that's going to force him to be a bit defensive. That gives her time to get the mutas out, get those going. So that's nice. And she has gotten a decent drone count up. She has 4 gases running. So it's by no means a done game. It's just this is not the situation you really want to be going mutas in.
Well,
although
there's a decent amount of damage.
There's no defense for NaNiwa. He was actually completely off guard. She managed to deny all scouting of this, despite the fact that she goes mutas every game. So that's really good for him, or for her.
She's trying to find avenues of attack into this 3rd base here. The mutas make their way in and are going to get a couple more probes before they have to back up from the cannon there. Almost got that red health one, but she is starting to do little bits of damage here and there, and since NaNiwa's not been able to attack or apply any kind of harassment, she's back on 85 drones. She's on 4 bases. Her tech's really starting to get rolling now.
Yeah, she has a 5th and 6th hatchery coming up. She has creep spread all over the map. I mean, she is Scarlett. That's pretty much a given.
Oh, jeez. I didn't realize how ridiculous this creep spread is. It's almost at NaNiwa's natural.
Pretty much is at his natural, and she's also expanding at one of his potential 3rd bases. And this Mutaflock is getting really, really hard to deal with. It's actually just taking out the Stalkers, picking off the Phoenix as they come out. And that's not a good situation to be in. He does have Templar Tech available, so he's not all about the Phoenix, but without the Phoenix, you don't really have a mobile response, and it's getting to the point where she can start forcing base races and just running around and being an annoying Muta player. So, as good as this looked for NaNiwa, it could go Scarlett's way real fast if these Mutas get out of hand.
And here comes a potential engagement here at the natural. The creep spread is about as far as it's going to get without cannons spotting it. There is actually no observer on the field, so there's really nothing that NaNiwa can do to stop this creep spread getting any further. The mutas make their way in, take out a cannon, do a little bit more economic damage. Scarlett's muta control is great. She eats a little bit of the edge of a storm, but the Void Rays eat more of that than the mutas do. The Lings and Hydras are now making their way into the natural through the back door here. NaNiwa is spread too thin.
Yeah, he is. The mutas just run back into the 3rd base as soon as he goes back to try and deal with the threat of the natural, and more storms wasted. Those mutas will just go back and regen. They're actually going to take out all the Void Rays here if he's not careful. Ooh, big storms. Almost kills them. But now they just go back, and in a couple of minutes they'll be green health again.
And that's the infuriating thing about Mutalisks, and these Hydralisks are having a lot of fun against the Zealots right now, picking off as many as they can. NaNiwa's army is significantly smaller than his opponent, but that doesn't really mean too much when we're dealing with Protoss with high-power units like Void Rays and High Templar, but so far Scarlett's shown no willingness to eat storms. She's getting out of them incredibly fast.
Yeah, pretty much perfect control from her thus far. I don't know. I was pretty scared for her when she was actually down in workers, no tech, no nothing, etc. But she turned this around very, very easily. Just getting caught off guard by those mutas, you can't afford that as Protoss. That was kind of a mistake from NaNiwa.
Yep, Storm actually working against the Zealots more so than anything else, doing pretty bad damage as they try to retreat away from the Hydralisk DPS. The base in NaNiwa's 4th has been taken now, and it's being established with Spine Crawlers. The entire map is now in Scarlett's control. She has almost every expansion. The mutas are coming in, and finally some storm damage is done, but it did take 3 storms to eat away at that. So he's burning through a lot of storm energy here.
He is, and she is now maxed. She has a ton of income. She doesn't have the biggest gas bank, so that could be a bit of a concern if she somehow loses all of her mutas at once. But you mentioned that he doesn't have an observer. He doesn't even have a robo.
Yeah.
So this creep is here to stay.
Forever, yeah.
The spine crawlers are coming up. That's going to be a problem. Spore crawlers as well. Actually putting them right below the ramp. Scarlett getting a little bit cocky there. She knows she's in complete control of this game. I think she's not beyond rubbing it in a little bit there.
No.
But that's also a good tactical decision, of course. That's his next base. So the harder you make it to take, the better that is for you. But yeah, Scarlett just in complete control. She's got Infestors coming out. Her hive is already finished. Double upgrades for the air units. 2/2 coming for the mutas. Corruptors as well out as well. She doesn't even really need those, but she has them just to help.
No. This is getting a tad silly right now on the creep spread situation. Creep is almost getting up to the Protoss buildings and covering it here. And this is just perfect map control. It's basically a giant map hack here for Scarlett. She can see everything. She can outmaneuver. Storms are not landing here for NaNiwa. He is going to try and make his way to this 4th base, but there's a forest of spine crawlers and huge amounts of Zerg units. The Storms are going to have to be phenomenal here. They blanket everything, including his own units, knowing, look, I've got to fight the best I can, and that did a lot of damage. Those Storms actually pushing Scarlett back significantly. A lot of damage being done to that muta count, and it looks like NaNiwa is going to be able to break his own 4th.
Yep, Storm's doing what they do, killing off Zerg units. And NaNiwa actually has a lot of Templar left over. If he just morphs those all into Archons and attack moves right now, he might be able to kill her. Because she has 18 mutas coming out, and mutas cannot fight against Archons. It just does not happen. And he has enough money and enough support units that might be able to keep them alive and just kind of all in. But I don't know. Still some mutas are out, and they're actually going to pick off a bunch of Templar here. That's really, really bad for NaNiwa. Oh, never mind.
The fungal is not enough to kill him off. And I don't think NaNiwa's going to make that same mistake twice and allow those mutas to get in there. If he
really
does,
should just make those all into Archons at this point.
Seems like a plan. They don't have that much energy anyway, so I think that's probably the right call there. I think that fungal was really her only infestor, and now the Protoss army is actually marching across the map here. The backstab comes in with the Mutalisks, though, which is devastating the economy of NaNiwa. 55 workers killed. This hatchery is not hatchery. Nexus is going to most assuredly die. NaNiwa just thinking, well, there's so many targets. Scarlett basically has every base on the map right now. Where the hell do I hit?
Scarlett's in full-on base race mode, and this is the ideal situation. You got Mutaling, and you have a bunch of expansions. It's just, NaNiwa's army will never ever lose to Scarlett's at this point, but there's just not a whole lot he can do to actually win the game. You win the game by killing the buildings, not the units.
Yeah. He's working on the Hive right now and killing an Extractor, which is not going to help him too much. Recall was forced. The Hive is taking significant damage as though a Queen to transfer it. There isn't. Hive actually goes down. Those Zealots get a really, really great snipe off there. But they didn't really kill much tech. It does stop her from going Ultralisk. It does stop her from going Broodlord at this point. But, well, doesn't matter.
No.
Not matter.
He realizes she's just going to continuously counterattack until she actually has the army to beat him. And there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. Looks scary for a second there. That was a big Protoss ball, but just not enough.
Yeah, I mean, the Mutalisk backstab just devastated what remained of that economy, and I think that if he'd looked at, well, if he'd been able to see the entire map and said, oh, great, I took the Hive out, she only has 7 more bases left, then that probably wouldn't have encouraged him to continue the game, and I do not blame him in any way for that whatsoever. That was a brilliant game, like back and forth. It was absolutely awesome to watch, seeing Scarlett with a really early damage, fantastic hold by NaNiwa, into NaNiwa actually gaining an advantage with that excellent attack and a little bit of a questionable defense there from Scarlett, but then things started to roll back in her direction. Do you think there was any point in that game where NaNiwa could have further reinforced his advantage after doing so much damage to the main?
Absolutely. He had the game essentially won if he had known that the mutas were coming. If he had had Phoenix out in time, or if he had done a timing attack before the mutas actually came out on the map. It looked like he was really worried about Roach Hydra timing, because all he saw was Roach Hydra. He knew she was on relatively low economy. He knew she had to make something happen.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get the hallucinated Phoenix Scout that he needed to on the Spire, on the mutas. He just assumed it was going to be a Roach Hydra timing. He put his defense up against that. Was completely off guard against the mutas. And just, you can't be off guard against mutas when that happens, especially against a player like Scarlett.
Yeah, Scarlet mutas in particular are kind of like lifelings. They get just a little bit extra out of them. It's actually kind of unfair and scary, but that was a brilliant game. This series is down to the wire, and I'm loving that it hasn't been a 4-0. It's 2-2 in this series right now. The people that brought you this series, you really need to thank them because it's already been great. They're down the bottom of the screen right now. I'd like to particularly highlight blockchain.info, which is one of the places to make a Bitcoin wallet. You can make a free Bitcoin wallet, as many as you like. You can use it to make worldwide payments for free, and it gives you a whole bunch of different things, including security features like the ability to actually print out your wallet. So even if you were to lose your password, your physical printout in a QR code can be used to scan your wallet right back in again. It's really quite fancy, and you can check it out over at blockchain.info, and it's going to be what we're going to use to pay the winner of this show match. Check him out on Twitter at Bitcoin, and Roger Kev... I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Roger KVER on Twitter is the blockchain.info sponsor. I want to take a short break, folks. When we come back, Game 5. Oh yes, it is going there. Game 5 of Scarlett versus NaNiwa. Yes, indeed, folks. Game 5 is on its way right here. It's going to be on Polar Night. This is the last game before the map pool refreshes, and we switch over to loser picks format, which, I mean, that's a nice little twist, I suppose, mid-series.
Yeah, it is. That's an interesting one. I'm not sure if I've ever actually played or seen a match that had that feature, so that's going to be pretty interesting. I would say that it goes NaNiwa's way. I feel like Polar Knight and Yunsu are more Protoss favored than Frost and Star Station are Zerg favored. But NaNiwa lost on Yunsu, and they both seem to be losing on the maps they're supposed to win on. So I don't know if that actually helps them out as much as it would in theory.
That's absolutely true. I have no idea where this series is going. It has been absolutely fantastic so far, incredibly close. And really interesting on all sides. We're seeing obvious mind games going on. We're seeing really good back and forth play, in particular on Game 4 and Yonsu. And now we go to Polar Night, Game 5. To the north position, in the blue trunks, playing Protoss. From Team Alliance, he is NaNiwa. Versus his opponent to the south position. From Team Acer, having taken her least favorite map in the map pool in a pretty convincing fashion. That's gotta give her a boost going into this. In the red trunks, playing Zerg, Acer Scarlett.
Yeah, and that was not just a build order win. She ended up way ahead because of a kind of a cheesy build order, but then she lost that advantage. She was behind, then she was able to just completely outplay him anyway. He made mistakes, she played perfectly, and just, I don't know. That inspires a lot of confidence when you can pull that off on a map that you explicitly really don't like.
Gotta agree with that. No real question. And now Polar Night, which is not really a map that either player expressed a huge degree of appreciation for, and I believe it is the map that Nani actually vetoed in the second round. So this is not a map that will be played again.
That's interesting. I find this map pretty good for Protoss. It's very difficult to take a third base, so if you're a macro-oriented Protoss, then you definitely have problems and dislike this map immensely. But if you're willing to do two-base aggression, and you're willing to go gateway expansion, as NaNiwa has already proven in this series he's more than comfortable with, I think this is a fine map for you. It's so hard for Zerg to actually take a third base on here against any kind of gateway expansion into anything. Anything from 4-gateway Zealot, like we saw in Frost, to a tech all-in, like we saw in Star Station. It's a very exposed map for the Zerg. So I find that very surprising that he actually doesn't like it that much.
Yeah, he's not a fan of it, so we'll see what he is actually able to do here. And if he wins it, perhaps he might be regretting vetoing that one, but that's all set in stone. And of course, Scarlett vetoed Yonsu for the second round, which is absolutely to be expected. Although again, This is where
she
things
won
get
on it,
weird.
so.
Yeah, she won on it. Admittedly, she did it in a bit of a different way. I don't think that was a style at least in the early game, that she was hugely comfortable with. Bear in mind, this is the same player that did a 9-pull and 10-pull against Hitman, and I believe lost both times doing so. That early aggression, especially with Lings from her against Protoss, is not something she's had historic success with.
Just early game, her greatest strength is her multitasking. She's a very, very fast, very mechanically proficient player. And you need to look no further than her creep spread to realize that. And that's her strong suit. She wants the game to drag out and get big and fast. And early game, definitely, if she has a weakness, it's definitely that, both aggressively and defensively. She seems to lose a lot to cheese, and when she tries to cheese herself, it doesn't seem to work out nearly as well as you would hope.
No, it doesn't work out too well, although every now and again, surprisingly, it does. But
of course, she is an excellent player, and that's kind of just the nature of cheese. Like, sometimes you'll hit the lucky part of it, sometimes you won't. So that's bound to happen when you have a player who's good enough to execute as well as she can. And we actually see a probe running around the edge of the map from NaNiwa here, so that could be... Oh, yeah, he doesn't have a gas yet. No fourth gate just yet, but I would not be at all surprised to see it. But Scarlett actually has an Overlord well in position to check on the gas timing. She's going in right now to look at that.
Yep,
she sees no gas.
Yep.
As also the chrono boot's on the warp gate, so she has to know something's happening here.
She's still building drones. She's got 2 queens on the way. She put down 2 extractors, of course, at that point, because you can't really go without that. But I wonder if she will try and actively scout to try and find this pylon, or whether or not she'll just rely on spine crawlers and as many queens and lings as she can get her hands on here.
Yeah, it looks like she's going for the double upgrade ling build. That is, a really quick Twilight Council.
Yeah.
So presumably the DT build once again, after realizing that she had scouted and that she was not putting down a third base anyway. But it looks like she's going for that 2-base ling upgrade style. We know she likes it on this map, on any map where there's a difficult to take third base. And we've already seen her play it in this series, so no surprise there.
She wasn't able to scout that gas going up, which is a little awkward. I mean, she could easily just check it out there again, but I'm always afraid with Scarlett because it's happened against Hitman and other Protoss players before that she misreads what's coming.
Yeah, even already in this series, that happened in the first game. And 4 Zealots and a Mothership Core actually coming in here. 3 Queens, but I'm not sure if they have any transfuses at all, so this could be kind of iffy.
Yeah, very little transfuse energy. They need 50. One's about to have it, but it's also about to get stabbed in the neck, so that's something to avoid there. Transfuse is now available. So far, she's managed to avoid losing the Queens. Taking out 1 Zealot, a second one's going to go down. This hold is looking pretty good right now.
She survives, but the thing is, NaNiwa only lost 4 Zealots there.
Yeah.
Scarlett had to make 2 spine crawlers. She does cancel 1 now. Make 2 spine crawlers, and then she made at least 30-some lings, maybe more. So that's a lot of larvae out the window, a lot of resources out the window. Her queens were all sitting down there instead of being in her main macroing. Pardon me, she has another one in her main. But those queens were using their time defending instead of spreading creep and doing anything more productive. And the Dark Shrine is already nearly completed. We see no detection at all.
Yeah. Layer's on the way up a little bit quicker for her, which I guess is helpful, but there is the potential for that Dark Shrine to hit really hard. And all the lings are just...
she's going to find it.
She's going to find it. Can she kill it before the DTs come in? I don't think so, maybe?
It's going to be, like, absurdly
close. Really close.
No, I think she's going to get it. It's, like, as close as it can be.
It's finished. Yeah, she's going to get it. Wonderful pick off there for Scarlett.
But there is another pylon further down. If she finds that, she is going to find that, so that's fantastic. The DTs will be able to warp in, though. And there they go.
Yep.
See, no Spore Crawlers yet, and no Overseer. Well, obviously, the lair has not finished just yet.
20 seconds for that lair to finish, and then we could actually see the Overseer coming in. Lings are starting to make their way back. Metabolic Boost is about to finish here. It's a bit of a hike for these DTs, but they're about to make their way into the natural here. A Spore's going to come up. That's most likely going to... That was not the time for Scarlett to lag out. Wow.
She saw the DTs and was just like, nope, not playing this. Kick the power button.
Yeah, currently there is actually an ice storm over in Canada right now. I'm hoping that everything is okay for her. It seems to be. I guess she would tell us if it wasn't.
Yeah, she started producing things, so she is playing. Yeah. Overseers are on the way, but that hatchery's going to fall once again. And this time she's not on
transfuse energy, but not too much.
This time she's not on 3 hatcheries. She's on 2 hatcheries. So losing this is half of her income and half of her production. And the DTs are going to get away scot-free.
Yep, the Overseers are on the way, but... she blocked them off really nicely there. That was actually fantastic hold position control. And she's trying to protect this hatchery going up there. She will be able to. The recall comes in from NaNiwa.
Really smart play from him getting out there safely. And we also have a Warp Prism. A Warp Prism and another DT. So it looks like he's actually going to continue the harassment, and he's going double upgrades now, which is an interesting counter to the Ling style, because you're taking away the advantage. Oh, Archons. So she's just going to go, or he's just going to go for, I don't know what he's going to do.
Huh.
Maybe, I don't know. This is weird. I guess he's just harassing with the Archons.
I guess so. We could see some Archon drop play, which is something you never really see. But I mean, they're in the Warp Prism, so we'll see how it goes. The Lings are now making their way across the map looking for a hole. There won't be one. That's really not going to happen, I don't think, with this, and I'd be surprised if she commits, and she, of course, isn't going to do that. The 2 hatcheries are about back up again, so her income is going to start to spike up. She's been doing a lot of long-distance mining, but for the last couple of minutes, she's definitely been behind economically.
Certainly, and now the problem is, these Archons are actually going to be very, very powerful, because against only Zerglings, Archons do pretty well. And they actually have 1/1 upgrades on the way, and he's warping in Zealots as well. And Zealot Archon against Zerglings is absurdly strong.
This is completely unexpected. This is not the sort of thing you ever see, and no one's really ready for that. The surround comes in, but I mean, she already lost quite a bit there, whereas he was able to save both of those Archons. The upgrades are not in play yet, but that's a lot of Lings that died to that, and really all he spent was Zealots to make that happen. There's still a Zealot actually going after that Queen.
And the upgrades have now finished, so it's now 1/1 with Zealot Archon against Zerglings. So if NaNiwa chooses to go back in here, he's going to be even more efficient now.
Duelists are coming up, which obviously is not the answer to an Archon style.
Not at all, but if that's the only anti-air he has, and she gets a good surround with the Zerglings, you can take that out. And then the big thing is the Mutas are going to be able to chase everything down and kill them off. And Mutas plus the 5 Queens can take out those Archons by themselves. You have to be really, really careful here.
Yep, Lings are going to get a surround. Almost, never mind, almost. Yeah, those sentries are dead. So that's a great grab by Scarlett. She takes out 3. She goes for the surround on the Zealots as well. Shuts it down, denies the 3rd base. And the Archons have been driven away in their Warp Prism for the time being.
And NaNiwa knows this Mutas. He has Stalkers in the main and Cannons coming up. But he's not going to be able to take a 3rd base for forever. And Scarlett now has 3 base Mutas going. She's going to be able to drop a 4th hatchery soon. And this is a really uncomfortable map to play this kind of style on for NaNiwa, because it's going to be so hard for him to actually secure a 3rd. I think he might just be forced to do a 2-base Blink all-in. Like, go up to 2-2, get Blink, Mass Stalkers, and just go for the kill. I don't know if he has any other option here, and that does... Oh, he's getting a Templar Archives as well.
The funny thing that I've noticed about Scarlett right now is that her drone count is really, really low because she's been producing a hell of a lot of units. Oh, the Warp Prism doesn't die. Nice save there by NaNiwa. It's not like you want to hover over those Archons. So I guess it's a good job you put Archons in your Warp Prism. No one wants to go anywhere near them with Mutas. But do you think that drone count is going to be hurting Scarlett in any way?
Absolutely, because at some point she does have to get more drones. She's producing a bunch of them now. And NaNiwa is going to have a really, really strong timing. He lost a lot of units early on. He's had the 3rd Nexus canceled. But he's going to have 2-2 upgrades very quickly. He's going to have that Templar Archives. He already has access to the Archons, which are, of course, great against Mutaling. So I think NaNiwa's going to be forced to all-in just because it's so hard to take a 3rd base on this map, especially against a player with Mutas such as Scarlett. But that all-in is going to be really, really powerful once it gets going.
That's very true. The Mutas come in, and Scarlett loses a few of them uncharacteristically here, but she wants to kill as many Stalkers as possible. Maybe she smells the same thing with that many Stalkers warping in. Oh, maybe it's a Blink Stalker all in, so I better kill as many Blink Stalkers as I can before that actually hits.
Yeah, at this point she has to know. She has full map vision. She knows there's no 3rd Nexus coming up. She knows the upgrades, the tech choices that NaNiwa's making. She has pretty much full information. She has to know that attack is coming. She's making nothing but Mutas and Lings right now. The thing is, Mutas and Lings are pretty terrible in a straight-up fight against this kind of composition.
Especially with 2 Archons in the mix there. You know, if those Archons had died, maybe that would have been a little bit different, but 2 Archons there really throws that for a loop.
Yeah, and it's going to be 4 Archons before this attack actually happens. So this is just getting scarier and scarier.
I mean, she's doing a pretty good job of picking off as many workers and just stray units as she can here, but at the end of the day, she's going to have to engage this giant ball, and the question is, what's she going to engage it with?
Yeah, she doesn't have a big spine crawler wall anywhere to fall back on. She doesn't have Baneling tech available. She does have very good upgrades. Her Lings are 2-2. Her Mutas have +1. So there's that going for her. But the thing is, NaNiwa is 2-2 as well. And 2-2 upgrades are... I don't know. I would say they're bigger on Protoss than on Zerg.
Certainly possible. I think in particular, because a lot of her army is in Mutas right now that are only 1-0, then that's definitely a true fact there. And these Blink Stalkers coming around the side, and right now it seems like Scarlett is just trying to pin NaNiwa on 2 bases for as long as possible so that she can maybe gain some kind of tech advantage or just an overwhelming army, and right now neither of those things seems to be going her way.
The biggest problem for her is she just has no transition. She never has anything. She's not headed towards anything that's actually going to be able to engage this ball. She's actually making a lot of drones, which is very questionable to me right now. She knows he's all in. She knows at best it's going to be a base trade. Not sure why she's doing that. And actually going for the kill with Mutiling right now.
Alright, well, she managed to break her way through the wall, so severe economic damage is going to be inflicted, but that has, of course, forced NaNiwa to go right for it as well. The Mutas are taking significant damage. NaNiwa needs to get those Blinkstalkers in there and is a little bit slow in doing so. He is focused on killing the 4th right now for Scarlett, and splitting off his army, going for the natural here as well. The melee in the middle of the natural has done significant economic damage, and I think Scarlett's going to be able to get out of there pretty much scot-free with the Mutalist. The Spines are about to finish here, but the Archons are already smashing their way down the front door. This upgrade may very well be cancelled as well. This is getting very strange very quickly, but this is actually, in my opinion, way in favor of the Protoss player.
Absolutely. Scarlett did not want to get out of there. She wanted to go for the base race. She wanted to be killing off the Nexuses. She doesn't want to come back and try and defend because she just can't fight that army. Those Archons are way too strong for the Mutas.
Yeah, now he is camping the natural ramp of Scarlett, which is a disastrous position for the Zerg player to be in. The +2 was cancelled. The Spire is being rebuilt, but NaNiwa is just going to go kill a lair now and any other tech he can get his hands on. And this counterattack, I don't think it's going to be enough. There's a lot of Blinkstalkers here on the ground already. This is going to make this costly, to say the least.
Yeah, Scarlett can win that fight, but it's going to cost a bit, and it's going to slow her down a lot. And at the same time, NaNiwa is just killing everything. There's absolutely no question that this army is going to be the dominant force. And I just don't think Scarlett can eliminate him before he actually forces a fight or he eliminates her. His army is just too much stronger. Yeah,
that was a lot of tech that just got destroyed there by NaNiwa. The pool's going to go down. Pretty much everything is going to go down. We're seeing attempted re-expansions here across the map here for Scarlett. And yeah, I mean, the economy of Protoss is in tatters right now, but the standing army is already there.
And Scarlett only has 17 Mutas to her name, and it's going to be hard-pressed to actually get through 3 cannons and an Archon if NaNiwa actually morphs the Archon in his main. She's not. So she might be able to take that out, but she's just not going to kill stuff very quickly, whereas NaNiwa very well can.
Yeah, losing
the only thing...
Sorry, go ahead.
The only thing going for Scarlett here is her mobility. She can get around faster than he can, and she can build a lot of stuff all over the place, but I don't know. She can never deal with that army, and I don't think she can kill the buildings fast enough for it to matter.
No, I certainly don't think so. She lost a couple more Mutalisks to cannons as well. Obviously, the probes are going to die, and that's fine, but there's stuff all over the map. There's pylons randomly scattered around the place. NaNiwa recalls back to his base to try and deal those Mutas, and those Mutas need to get out of there right now. Almost lost his Nexus, but the Blink follow-up comes in, takes out 2 more Mutalisks as well. The total is now down to 13. 4 hatcheries going up all over the map, but nothing to mine from them.
Yeah, just 15 drones still existing, but even if you get those resources, she's lost all her tech. She has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And rebuilding hatcheries still, even back at her main, but just I don't see where she goes from here. I don't think there's anything she can do.
And it would require, I feel, NaNiwa to split up his army in a really significant way to allow masterful Mutalisk micro against 2/2 Blinkstalkers. I mean, getting all of those Zealots is a really nice pick-off, considering it was for free, and this is a low-economy situation, but they don't shoot up. So that doesn't really make that much of a difference. Perhaps, maybe, just maybe, if a lot of Lings can get out on the map, then these Blinkstalkers suddenly die. But with 3 Archons, I don't see that ever happening.
No, I really don't think so. I don't know what NaNiwa is waiting for here. He doesn't have anything going for him time-wise. Like, he's not going to get better with time. So I'm not sure why he isn't getting more aggressive.
Well, NaNiwa has no money, so this Nexus could very well get picked off. But to what end? I mean, the Mutas are still dying. There's 13 of them. There are Archons on the ground. It seems like NaNiwa really desperately wants to defend that Nexus.
But the Nexus doesn't accomplish anything. Maybe he's just trying to bait her army into committing there, so she loses that, and then he can counterattack on the right side of the map.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can see. Because he was actually chrono boosting an empty Nexus. I think he might just be messing with her.
Maybe. It is a situation where I feel Scarlett can get back into it if we see a very passive Protoss here.
Yeah, because she does now have a mining base, a pretty heavily mining base down on the bottom right. So she has that going for her, but she's losing a lot of Lings here. She can't lose army. She just can't. She doesn't have any to lose.
No, apparently not. 24 drones, 22 probes, but the probes aren't mining. So this is what the income looks like. This is a problem, I think, for NaNiwa. He's got to go now, really. Surely. He can't just sit around. I mean, he's not mining, his opponent is. That's really all you need to know.
Yeah, he still has plenty of time before it actually becomes problematic. It's just, there's no reason to wait. He doesn't gain anything by waiting.
And he finds the mining base. The drones are going to take some damage here. This hatchery is going to get picked up. There is another mining base, but the problem is there's barely any minerals at it, so that doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. Ling's now coming in, and almost a suicidal move, I feel, there by Scarlett. She's now down to 9 Mutalisks, because there's no way that beats 18 Stalkers in a million years. That Archon's still alive, so Lings are not going to matter here. And I think now this is the game of the Protoss.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the engagement NaNiwa wanted. That took enough wind out of Scarlett's sails that I don't think he has to really even worry about a counterattack anymore at this point. He can just kind of run around killing hatcheries. And Scarlett really doesn't want to lose, understandably. So she's going to keep running around and hoping that NaNiwa messes up. But it's going to take a pretty big mess up to lose 3 Archons and 18 Stalkers against 8 Mutas.
Yeah, that Nexus may die. But no, there's Blink Stalkers there. She'll have to sacrifice a couple more. Down it goes. But that now takes it down to 7 Mutas here as well. These Stalkers in this Archon are still very active on the map here, looking for that mining base. There is another one going up over here for Scarlett. So she is playing shenanigans right now. There are no Nexus available at all here for NaNiwa.
Yeah, she's actually even mining from the top right, distance mining.
That's unexpected. All right. Could that be the ninja base? No, I mean, she's creep there. There's no way. NaNiwa will eventually figure that out.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting around the map and actually taking care of everything for NaNiwa. He's being unnecessarily slow about it, which is kind of annoying for us, but that's about it. Scarlett doesn't have any real comeback potential, so there's no way she starts producing units. And if she does, the only thing she has access to is Zerglings. Yeah. And Zerglings is against upgraded Blink Stalkers and Archons.
3 Archons, yeah.
Yeah,
just not going to happen. Yeah, and that mining base up there is certainly allowing her to try to claw her way back into this, but if she comes back from this position, you know, a lot of casters have said it before, it will be one of the most ridiculous comebacks in history because there's still a very strong Protoss army on the field, and there's no sign of that dying anytime soon.
Yeah. There's actually a DT in the army now, and I don't believe there are any overseers out for Scarlett.
There are not.
Oh, there is a single one.
Ah,
but
there it is,
it's
yes.
not up at the top of the map.
Yeah.
So that DT is going to mess things up as well.
Yep, and an engagement comes in here from Scarlett. She doesn't have enough units to really make that work. She does knock out an Archon, though. Maybe if she'd waited for a few more Lings, that would have been a little bit better, but now all of the Mutas are dead. So she is currently still mining from that base, and it seems like NaNiwa doesn't actually know about it, even though he sees the creep. It obviously just hasn't connected in his head, and the second base is up here.
Yeah.
I mean, surely there's no comeback from here. The spawning pool just begins at the 27-minute mark. Come on, really?
Nah, not at all.
No
6
way.
Zerglings, 2 Mutas, no production. Before we kind of had to hem and haw a bit. Maybe the Mutas can catch an Archon and something funky happens in a base race. But no, at this point it is actually physically impossible for Scarlett to beat a human being in this game. Yeah, and NaNiwa, as far as we know, is a human being.
As far as we know, yes. We've seen all signs of that. And that Muta does not die, but if NaNiwa keeps sort of flaunting around at the wrong side, he put a DT down to the southwest, which is great there. He's got to figure out where those 2 mining bases are. He'll certainly find the one over to the west. It may somehow not click in his head that Scarlett could possibly be distance mining from a game that still has the rocks up. And that's not where a spawning pool is, which would be hilarious, I might add. But let's just be absolutely clear. NaNiwa has no way to build anything else. But he's still sitting on this phenomenal army.
Yeah, 0 minerals, no nexus. Does have plenty of probes. Eventually it gets to the point where he just sends out probes everywhere and tries to figure out where stuff is. And like there's a finite amount of space on the map where structures can be built. So it's just kind of a matter of time.
Yeah, you can hype as much as you want, but like NaNiwa would have to go to sleep for the next 10 minutes, I feel, to lose this at this point.
Yeah, she is mining. She does have that spawning pool finished, so she's making a lair. She's gonna try and replace her
about to
meter
get
count a little
spotted.
bit.
There we go. He's finally figured it out.
But she has rebuilt another 2 hatcheries down at the bottom of the map. So it will continue.
Well, drones are off, so Archons can't actually catch them, especially not in creep. So eventually all that stuff's going to die. The lair is, of course, cancelled, which is to be expected. But there's another group of Blink Stalkers that are actually moving to intercept the drones here, and it looks like they're going to get them, and that is... Or maybe they're not going to get them. Okay, they were almost going to get them. Going to yet another mining base over the side here. Now they've realized, okay, this has got to be over now.
Well, there is another hatchery back in Scarlett's original main.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
There's that as well.
Great. Well,
she won't be revealed just yet.
Yep. It's currently 10 supply versus 71. Army supply is 6 to 51, which is a pretty good advantage for the Protoss here, I feel.
Yeah. This is pretty much just the same as what happened on Frost. Scarlett absolutely knows the game is lost. She's just kind of...
GG. Oh, there we go. Took a little while, but there we go. Well, we reach potential match point here. NaNiwa is up 3-2 in this best-of-7 series. But now, the map pool refreshes, and it's Scarlett's pick.
And that will be interesting. And she has, what was it? Is Star Station, Frost, and Belshire to choose from?
I believe so, yes.
Those, I would say those are the 3 Zergier maps of the pool. I would have called Polar Knight and Yunsu the 2 very, very Protoss, very anti-Zerg maps.
Yeah.
I'm still very confused by the fact that NaNiwa dislikes Polar Knight and actually vetoed it out. I would have thought Frost for sure would be his veto. So maybe that's kind of good for Scarlett. Maybe that gives her a little bit of comeback potential. But being down 2-3 against someone as versatile and dangerous as NaNiwa, scary situation to be in.
Yeah, pretty terrifying, honestly. It's been a really good series so far, but eventually, it's got to come to match point. We'll see, though. She picked Star Station, so pretty much immediately she was ready to go. We're not going to take any breaks from here on in, folks. We're going to go all the way through to the end. The players don't want any more breaks. You certainly don't want any more breaks, so we're going to do this as quickly and as well as we can. Please do check out our sponsors, however. They're down the bottom there. You can certainly see what's going on with the sponsors. And I would like to particularly highlight one of those sponsors, if you don't mind, that have made this whole thing possible, and that is, of course, Reddit Bitcoin. The Reddit Bitcoin community donated a significant amount of Bitcoin to this show match. They're reddit.com/r/Bitcoin. Their Twitter is @RedditBTC. And I believe they were actually the largest donor to this show match, coming together to donate a total of 3.25 Bitcoins, which is a phenomenal amount. So thank you very much to them for that.
Sorry, are we on EU or NA for the next one?
We are, in fact, on NA. And then we will go pretty much immediately. Star Station is the pick, and then, of course, the ace match would be a loser pick for NaNiwa. It would also end up being on his server, incidentally, so that could work out fairly well for him, but so far we've been seeing some weird stuff. It's actually been the opposite of what we expect. I believe on every map, the player whose server it wasn't actually won.
Oh, no, I think
Not entirely.
they've been...
No.
I think they've been winning on their home servers and losing on their home maps. Like, the maps they chose, they lose,
Yeah.
but on their home server, they've been winning.
Okay.
I think it's actually followed that pattern this far.
Yeah,
I'm not
actually,
entirely sure.
Yeah. Alright.
So that's fun.
Okay.
So that says that NaNiwa should... Actually, I don't know, because it's both Scarlett's server and Scarlett's map. So we'll have to see which curse is stronger.
Indeed, which is the stronger. I mean, I've honestly not been seeing huge amounts of micro mistakes from either that have really indicated anything in that respect. So, you know, as much as people like to factor that in, I don't think it's really a huge deal.
No, any kind of close control battles have been pretty much after the game's been decided. It's been much more counterattacks and decision-making thus far. And Scarlett's observed macro and map control in that one game.
Indeed. Alright, Star Station. Will NaNiwa be able to close this out, or will we see Scarlett be the person that is able to bring this to the ace match? We're going to be finding out very shortly, folks. The Star Station TE will be the next map, and it's on its way.
And Star Station is a repeat map, so you always get fun mind games there. It's like, is my opponent going to do the same silly thing he did last game, or last game on here? In this case, the very fast DT rush, or is he going to mix it up?
That's a really good question. Here we are, folks. Star Station once again. It was only yesterday. In fact, it was only a couple of hours ago that we were on this map. And I bring you Alliance NaNiwa. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the northwest of Star Station. He is on match point versus his opponent to the southeast position in the purple trunks, playing Zerg. It's Acer Scarlett.
And NaNiwa opens with a pylon in his base. That's about the position he's been putting it for a lot of his gateway expansions, so I would expect that. That is how he opened up to lead into the DT build the last game. Or the last game on Star Station. And Scarlett, nothing fun from her just yet. No kind of 9 pool or 10 pool when facing match point. That's not particularly surprising, although I think she actually did that against Hitman, but that was kind of smaller stakes there.
Yes, a little bit less on the line there, certainly. And NaNiwa's the kind of player to bust out a ridiculous build in the last game, like kind of balls of steel style.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the kind of player who would not be horrifically surprising to see him proxy 2-gate next game if it went down to 3-3 and then we're on a 2-player map. He would do something like that. I don't think... Actually, and Scarlett was just scouting for proxy 2-gate in her main right there.
Right.
So she's having similar concerns.
Yeah, a map up. I mean, you might think that NaNiwa would like to do that kind of thing, especially considering his reputation, but it doesn't seem that way. Gateway expand in the base, nothing out of the ordinary. Second pylon also in the base.
He has not taken a second gas yet, so there is the potential for some of those early rushes that we've been seeing him do, either 3 or 4 gateways, zealot base kind of stuff. And we saw he just flat out won with it on Frost.
Yeah.
And we've seen we've seen Scarlett show some weaknesses to it in past games, so that may be something to watch out for. Even last game, he set it up with that 3 gateway zealot pressure, and she wasn't really ready for it. She had to trade quite a bit to keep herself alive, and that was just 3 gateway. So, I don't know. That kind of seems to be a weak point of Scarlett's. It's just any kind of early aggression. ZVP early on, Protoss has a lot of opportunities, a lot of options, a lot of stuff to work with, and it's very hard to defend against everything. But Scarlett has seemed particularly vulnerable to a lot of things in some of the recent matches she's played ZVP.
Yeah, not just in this series either. That's pretty much what got her killed against Hitman. She showed some weakness against Parting in that respect as well. And, of course, you know, losing to a little bit of early aggression from SOS in the Red Bull Battlegrounds, even though she did incredibly well in the macro games. If she gets to that point, things usually work out pretty well for her, but every now and again there's those wonky base trades where things get low econ and then they also start to fall apart really for her.
Yeah, and if we look at NaNiwa's main, he is still on the 1 gas. He hasn't chrono boosted Warp Gate just yet, so not 100%, but that's a very, very late second gas, and there goes the chrono boost. So this is looking like some kind of zealot rush, whether it's 3 gate into tech or 4 gate. We won't know until he actually builds them, but it does look like he has liked how that's been working out. He's going to go for it again. And Scarlett's still sitting on 2 bases. She hasn't taken that very early 3rd hatchery as she did on Frost.
Gateway's going to come down at the front right here, and NaNiwa doesn't actually see that Overlord. It's going to spot those 2 gateways going in there, which should be a little bit of a warning sign, but we saw Scarlett misread this before. It will, of course, be 4 gates in total. Warp Gate is getting chrono boosted, and the probe snuck out a while ago. It's actually down in the bottom left, which is not perhaps the best place for it to be. Maybe it might want to move a little bit closer, but it's out, and Scarlett can't stop that now.
No, and she doesn't have any Zerglings out. It doesn't even look like she's going to look for the probe, so I don't really see that being contested. Scarlett, she's pretty much just going to have to depend on Spine Crawlers to defend this, and that's a really bad situation to be in, because the Spine Crawlers, they don't give you map control. They don't give you anything that scales well. So best case scenario for you, your opponent made like 8 Zealots, and you made like 6 Spine Crawlers, and then your opponent backs off. He still has 6 Zealots for his next attack. You have a bunch of Spine Crawlers that don't really do too much besides keep you alive, and your opponent has map control. They have probably a better economy. They just, I don't know. I really don't like the 2-base Spine Crawler kind of defense that she's doing here against any kind of Protoss aggression.
Well, the Zealots are on their way in. I mean, there's a pylon right outside there. She's got to realize what this is now. A couple of queens. In fact, she's got 4 queens in total, which is going to be okay until the second round of warpins come in.
Only the 1 Spine Crawler, though. She's just now adding a second. She actually had no idea it was coming until far, far too late. Once again,
misreads it for the second time. Yeah,
this is becoming a bit of a pattern with her.
Yeah, it can be a problem. The queens are coming in. The Evo chambers are now coming down in the back as well. Not at the front in any kind of wall or anything. She's going to have to pull off a pretty good defense here. The Spine Crawler already getting surrounded. The queen's trying to defend it as best they can. Transfuse goes on. Several really good transfuses, actually, from Scarlett, but the Spine will eventually die. The queen's going to get picked off. Link's trying to make their way in as well. There's still 8 Zealots on the map. Another Warpin comes in, and that Spine Crawler is about to finish, which will certainly help, but most of the queens are already dead here. There's 3 Lings. This could very well be the end of Scarlett. This could be NaNiwa taking this show match here.
Yeah, lethal damage pretty much already been done. Speedling isn't going to finish until that hatchery falls. The Spine Crawlers are all down. The queens are all down. NaNiwa back at home. He has his Stargate coming up. He has everything going for him. I don't see how she cleans this up, and she doesn't have anything else going for her. No tech, no upgrades, no economy, no nothing.
I mean, there's 15 Zealots on the map, and they're pretty much exactly where they need to be. The damage is certainly being done. There's a few Zealots actually hanging back by the secondary pylon that are not engaging here. Metabolic Boost is about to finish. There's a Spine coming up in the... it's actually at the back. Well, there's one at the back, and there's one coming up in the main here as well. But this is not looking good at all for Scarlett. She gets a pretty good surround on those reinforcement Zealots. Not perhaps the best one, considering that she was up against the cliff face there. It's still 10 Zealots now against 17 Zerglings and a Queen. The Zealots now making their way into the base. The Mothership Core is not dead yet. It is trying to be. A couple more shots would take it out. The Queen's going for it. One shot 2-shot, the time warp goes down. The queen was trapped.
And the queen gets trapped.
Oh, she made, well, it could have been a trap, but the drones are now coming off the line right here. The Ling's coming in, and this is a mess. The mining is, of course, completely denied here. Ling's trying their absolute best to throw this back. There's an Oracle on the way. There's only one queen. The hatchery is taking damage right now. The Spinecrawler is now moving in to attempt to defend. That single queen doing the best that they can. The Ling's coming around. They get a pretty good surround, but with that many zealots, I don't think that really matters. All of the Lings are now dead. The Spinecrawler is being placed. Long-distance mining occurring here. The Mothership Core still not dead. Queen falls. This has got to be it.
Only the one hatchery, no production, more zealots coming in. That Spinecrawler, maybe it clears up this wave, but the next wave of zealots, I think that's going to be the end of it. And if nothing else, the Oracle is here.
GG. And there it is. NaNiwa is your Bitcoin Challenge champion here. An excellent 4-2 performance from him. Really back and forth, but for the second time, Scarlett misreads the build, and, well, it was disastrous.
Yeah, the zealot pressure flat out won 2 games and led to a 3rd win there for NaNiwa. And at this point, it's getting to be, I don't know, lots of Zergs lose to that. It's hard to give Scarlett too much flack for that, because it is very, very powerful. Lots of Zergs are struggling with it, but it's definitely becoming a bit of a pattern for her. She's struggling with it against a lot of different players in a lot of different tournaments, and it's costing her quite a few matches at this point.
That's actually very true, and it seems like NaNiwa recognized that that was something that his opponent might fall for and executed it well a second time. Oh, that was really unfortunate there for Scarlett, but she played a really good series. It does, however, end up with NaNiwa going 4-2 and taking the good lion's share, in fact, 80-20 of the Bitcoin Show Match prize pool right here.
Yeah, really impressive. That last win seems kind of anticlimactic, but he had a lot of really fun back-and-forth wins beforehand, and you got to give him credit for recognizing her weakness and going for the kill. You mentioned it a couple of times throughout the series. He's just really, really good at figuring out how to win a game and doing it, and just doing whatever it takes. That's part of what makes him so scary. And yeah, he just realized that she's never ready for the zealot pressure. She plays those 2 base builds. She gets her speedling a little bit too late. She doesn't really rush out roaches. So there's just always that vulnerability, and he pounced on it.
That he did, and he did so incredibly well. Very impressive play, I've got to say there, from NaNiwa. Really, really great. And he will, of course, be walking away with the lion's share of this particular show match's cash, and we will, in fact, be sending it through live on air to make sure that it works out and just to show you how easy it actually is. I'm going to do a little bit of mathematics on this, though. We're going to figure out exactly how much he's won. So it's 14 Bitcoins. He wins 80% of that. So he is walking away with 11.2 Bitcoins. It's a lot of money.
It's not a bad haul. If it's at like 700, it's...
Yeah.
I don't know, what is the current exchange rate?
Right now, that would be $6,619.76, but of course, it depends on whether or not he wants to hold on to it for the future. It's probably a good idea.
Can talk to Destiny, get in on some of that day trading.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to bring NaNiwa into the call here. And we will, of course, be congratulating him on his win, and we will be sending this Bitcoin over to him. But that was a very impressive performance, I think, from NaNiwa. Really, really good.
And it was. I don't know. Series like that, just it feels like I'm being teased. Because you see Scarlett play that one fantastic game on Yunsu, and just not able to pull it together. Just got picked apart by NaNiwa and all the rest of the games. I guess the Belshir game was kind of... Nah, the Belshir game wasn't even that good. But I don't know.
Well, we will be sending this through as soon as he gets on the call. He apparently forgot his headset, so I will be coming through in a moment.
How did he forget it? He did the pregame interview. He had the headset for that. Then he plays the games. Where does the headset go in that time? Did he, like, throw it away from himself?
That's a great question. That's something I'm afraid I cannot actually answer for you there. And you can see on the screen right now, this is NaNiwa's... Oh, he's still managing... Oh, there we go, NaNiwa. Excellent. Congratulations.
Hey.
You'll be walking away with the lion's share of the Bitcoin right here, which we can see on screen. I'm going to send that right through to your Bitcoin wallet.
Should I join the stream, or... I mean, watch the stream, or what? How should I do this?
You don't need to do that. It's fine. You will receive it pretty much instantaneously, and everything will be fine. So, how do you feel after that match? How do you feel that went for you?
To be honest, I feel like this was a big waste. Like, I played maybe 70% of my capacity, but the bigger problem was that Scarlett is so greedy that it didn't really become real games. Like, as you saw, Scarlett died 2 times in a row to forget Zealot pressure. And like, I play to win, right? But it's still really boring to have to punish a player just because they're so greedy and refuse to play a straight-up game.
That is unfortunate. We did actually see the same thing happen twice, in fact. The issue was that you were able to go with that 2-base 4-gate Zealot rush, and both times you seemed to misread that.
Yeah, I don't think it was a misread, but mine is... how to say this? I have one more boost on my warp tech than the other players do. So my attack arrives like 10 seconds quicker. So I guess that timing... She thought she had more time than she did, and she didn't understand the build in time.
And that beep was your Bitcoin being sent through there, so that has been instantly transferred to your wallet. There we go. But yeah, it did seem like she wasn't quite able to deal with that, and it's quite surprising that it worked twice. And I'd like to know, how much did you actually prepare for this match, and did you have any specific builds going in for this, or did you just play what you knew?
I played so much that my wrists, they hurt a lot now.
Oh.
And I need to take a break. Like, it's not entirely like Destiny said that the title is very important to me, but it's not always that I have the chance to play a player of Scarlett's caliber in a BO7. So I really wanted to make the most out of it. And I wanted to have as much fun as I could while doing it. And a win always feels much better if you practice really hard, because then it feels like you deserve it. But I'm very disappointed with my performance. I think I could have won all the games if I didn't make those mistakes, but I guess Scarlett made mistakes too, so it's not really fair to say. Instead, I guess if Scarlett wants to play again, we can do another one in the future.
Yeah. Am I going to have to get 14 more Bitcoins for you? Is that how it's going to be?
No, I will do it for the fun alone.
Hey,
That's
there you
what
go.
It takes.
Be careful what you say on stream. You will get held to it. People have been known to fail that way before.
Okay. I guess there will be some price.
Now, it's been a pretty damn good year for you, and this is a really nice way to cap that off, but you're the kind of player that's never really happy with his performance. You're always looking to do more, so what can your fans expect from you in 2014?
I've had so many interviews about this one subject, and I
Sorry
don't know
for being
how
boring,
to
Nani.
No, it's fine, of course. You can't know what I say when I do interviews, so... basically, Starcraft 2 is not doing the best, as we all know, compared to League and Dota 2 and so on. So I know that a lot of teams have gotten pay cut. The players, I mean.
Yeah.
I really like the game and I want to continue playing, but I don't at the same time want to do it while feeling like I deserve more, you know? So I just want to get a fair deal with my team, because I would prefer to not have to leave it since I like it there. But if everything works out, I really want to go to Korea, because I feel like I have so much potential that I can get out of myself. Like, especially in HOTS, I think this game fits me way better than Wings. I understand it way better, and I feel like I can play with all the players, regardless of their skill.
Sure.
And I just feel like if I could get the practice that they do, I could probably win a big tournament, I think.
Just how much better would it be for you practicing in Korea? What kind of differences do you feel that would actually occur to really allow you to play to the next level?
Like, there's a few problems with Europe. For example, when we play tournaments, we always play the same people, right? Like, it's always me, Vortex, Nurchio, I guess Scarlett, and so on. So we can't really practice, because there's not enough top players. But in Korea, there's so many A-teamers, B-teamers who are like extremely good, and good enough to practice with for sure. So it's really hard to get good practice. That is the biggest problem.
Sure.
And the other problem is that there's not enough players, so you won't play enough styles. So you won't be prepared against a player like... Let's say that Soulkey plays like Roach Hydra, and Scarlett plays like Matling, it's not really the same thing, and there's not really any other Zerg outside of Korea who can like be even close to him, right? So it's really hard to be prepared for the best players going to tournaments.
It's an interesting reality there. So what you're saying is that it wouldn't just be the ladder in Korea, which is obviously a very strong place, don't get me wrong, to practice, but you would be looking for Korean practice partners as well going forward?
Yeah, I think that would boost my skill a lot. It's also very, how to say it, it makes you want to play more if you play really good players. So your motivation will always be on top, which is also a big deal. Since if you play like 10 hours of PvP straight in Europe, you won't really like the game very much.
I think that's kind of the situation for every PvP player.
Yeah, I guess so, but at the same time, if you like search ladder in Korea, you will get like Deer, SOS, Soul Key, Innovation, and so on. And that kind of practice is just golden.
Absolutely sounds like the kind of thing that people should be considering. But obviously going to Korea right now is very difficult with the GOM house closed, EG house closed.
Yeah.
How do you see that going forward? Is it even possible for foreigners to really come back to Korea in a big way?
Honestly, I think the only one who can get there is Scarlett. If there is some change with the XM house, I am aware that it's full.
It is not a big house, let me put it that way.
I've seen a lot of the pro gaming houses, and they're not very big. At least the non-Kaspa teams. I don't know how they have it. I guess better, but the only way I see it happening is if my team like partners up with a team in Pro League, for example, or something like that. But I have no information at all how that's going to happen. So
sure.
It's just I want to do it, but it doesn't seem very likely, I guess.
Fair enough. All right, well, NaNiwa, congratulations for your victory here and sitting on a rather large amount of Bitcoins. Do you have anything to say to your fans, your team, your sponsors, pretty much anyone? The floor is yours.
What did you say? Say it again.
The floor is yours. Say whatever you wish. Do you have anything to say to all the guys who are watching right now?
I want to say a very big thank you to my teammate again, sort of. Like, he played so many games you don't even understand. Like, every day we played several hours. And I took out a lot of my Swarm host rage on him. So I want to apologize on stream to him as well. I've already done it in private, of course, but I get very emotional against like Brood learning faster and stuff like that. Sure. I can't help it. I also want to thank Vipro for lending me his barcode, so I could play on that without people seeing it. And of course my team, which I hope I can have a long relationship with coming forward.
Fantastic. NaNiwa, thank you very much for your time, and of course, congratulations once again for your victory. And a big shout out to everyone else that played here, of course, Scarlett for putting on a phenomenal series, and of course to In Control and Destiny for their undercard match. NaNiwa, I shall leave you to celebrate in whatever way you want to do, and we're going to round out the show, so we will hopefully see you again in 2014.
Yep, see you. Thank you for doing this show match.
There you go, folks. Words from NaNiwa, and many interesting things, I suppose, about the state of practice in the foreign scene right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking for practice games against the top players, but I still play on ladder quite a bit. And North American ladder, there's almost nothing there. For Scarlett in particular, I'm not really sure. She's been traveling around a lot. She's been to Korea, she's been to Europe and whatnot. But when she's in North America, I don't know if she just plays on Korea and accepts the latency or what, but it can be very, very hard. And what you said is always true. Like, non-Koreans are always much more stylistic, and there's so few players that it's just, there's some players you can't play against. You can't play against a Sulky caliber, Roach Hydra kind of player outside of Korea. They just don't exist, because Scarlett doesn't really play that style too much. So even if she did it to help you practice, she wouldn't be as good at it as Sulky, and there's no other Zerg player who is as good as Sulky outside of Korea. So yeah, everything that he said is absolutely right. And really, you got to go to Korea still if you want to be able to compete on the very highest level.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. All right, folks, it is time for us to thank, of course, everyone that made this match possible. In particular, our sponsors today. You might be asking, what site did I use to send Bitcoins instantly to NaNiwa for his win? That was blockchain.info, one of the most popular Bitcoin sites online right now. That is blockchain.info. You can set up as many free wallets as you wish. That's a really great way to exchange Bitcoin, basically bring in Bitcoin and use it and send it to a variety of different places. It also allows you to send it to an address or to a QR code that you can just scan with a compatible smartphone app. Our other sponsors, Bitcoin Magazine, which is the place to go if you want to find out about cryptocurrency, the latest and greatest up-to-date source on Bitcoin, bitcoinmagazine.com. And Coinapult, which is a really easy way to send Bitcoin to any email address if you don't have a wallet or the person in question doesn't know anything about the service. You can do that in the US and Canada over at coinapult.com. Safello is the European Union-based Bitcoin reseller, and it allows Europeans to safely buy and sell Bitcoins. That is https://safello.com, and their Twitter is SafelloAB, spelled SaFelloAB. Reddit Bitcoin has been instrumental in making this happen. I'd like to particularly thank, of course, the moderators that set up the donation drive for this event that really allowed us to pump that prize pool up to rather legendary levels. That's at Reddit BTC and reddit.com/r/Bitcoin. And, of course, something we may hopefully be seeing an awful lot of in the Starcraft 2 scene, Starcraft Bitcoin Open. That's sc2btc.com. It is an automated tournament system allowing you to play StarCraft, win Bitcoin, featuring a gauntlet paid tournament ladder. On Twitter, that is at sc2btc. Of course, Greg, thank you very much for co-casting once again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. I would not have missed this. I would have been sitting here watching it, so I might as well talk about it at the same time.
Yeah, of course, why not? Absolutely. You're a great co-caster as always, and hopefully we'll get to work together in 2014, both online and live events. And other people who are responsible for making this happen, a big shout out in particular actually has to go to Willem van Rooyen, who is really the guy that was instrumental in getting this whole thing together and bringing all of the contributors together in a big way, making all of this happen. Big shout out to Zook, who is responsible for all of the art assets that you saw in today's presentation. And I'd also like to thank, of course, Jenna Bain, that makes pretty much all of these show matches and tournaments possible through her logistical support, all of her organization, and keeping me sane, which I think is perhaps the biggest challenge. Aside from that, thank you to Team Liquid for your promotion of this event, and of course, a big shout out to r/Starcraft that have been hyping this event now for over a week, and they've been doing a phenomenal job of that. In particular, the live reporting was excellent over at r/Starcraft, using a new feature that's actually been used for sports games for the most part. Things like football matches and all sorts of other stuff in the other sports subreddits. So, thank you very much for using that. And I would, of course, like to thank all the players once again. Congratulations to NaNiwa. Of course, commiserations to Scarlett. She still walks away with a good amount of money and a really good series played. And of course, Destiny and In Control for our undercard match here today. I'd like to thank Blizzard, particularly Amy Morhaime and, of course, Cloaken, aka Kevin Michael Johnson, for their really in-depth support for this event. They were absolutely behind it from the get-go. They really helped us make this possible. So thank you very much for that. And of course, thank you to all the fans. We wouldn't be anywhere without you. And you have been a phenomenal audience. We peaked over 40,000 concurrents on the European stream alone. That's not counting the 6 other streams that we had running. You guys have been awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed this match. And now I think it is time to leave. I actually have a new cast to do. The Nation War is on its way. It looks like I'm not getting too much of a break. Huck and Suppy actually scheduled the USA, Canada, and Nation War in about 3 minutes. So, I guess I'm not done yet. Stay on the stream, folks, if you want to watch that. I'm going to take a quick break, maybe get myself bagel and cream cheese, as delicious as that is. I will let Greg go, and I will be, I believe, solo casting the remainder of this event. Please have a safe and wonderful Christmas, and if you missed any of the VODs, they're going to be going up today on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit, spoiler-free. That is youtube.com/TotalBiscuit. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you next time.
attack. Yo ho, we roll beneath the black flag. A rollick and we go, we own the sea and sky. Yo ho, we roll beneath the black flag. A rollick and we go, we breathe the kingdom's dry. To fight the odds against us, a pirate knows no fear. Our steel is ready and our retribution is severe. We plunder from the greedy with blood and with our steel. We rob the rich of their ill-gotten gain and make them kneel. Behold the ocean's mysteries, the tales of ancient deeds. We follow in the footsteps of a silent secret creed. Yo ho, we roll beneath the black flag. A rollick and we go, we own the sea and sky. Yo ho, we roll beneath the black flag. A rollick and we go, we bleed the kingdoms dry. Hoist the black flag, lads. Justice runs in Crimson River. Yo ho, we roll beneath the black flag. A rollick and we go, we own the sea and sky. Yo ho, we roll beneath the black flag. A rollick and we go, we own the sea and sky. Yo ho, we roll beneath the black flag. A rollick and we go, we bleed the kingdoms dry. Ooh, Nico, it's your cousin. Why don't you take me bowling?
I came into this country to live a life of trouble. But ever since I got here, man, my blood pressure has doubled. These promises of freedom and the memory attractions turned out to be a bunch of crap and misleading distractions. My cousin is an idiot. He's always in a mess, and cleaning up his problems is a constant source of stress. And every time I'm on a job, he won't leave me alone. Every hour, every minute, man, he rings my bloody phone.
Nico, it's your cousin. Why don't you take me bowling? And afterwards we'll go get drunk and go rock-a-rolling. Cousin, it's your cousin. Let's get a bleeder burger and wash away the taste of all that carnage, crime and murder. Nico, it's your cousin. Why don't you take me bowling?
I can't believe this.
Ooh, Nico, it's your cousin. Why don't you take me bowling?
Roman, what the hell? Now is really not the time. I'm kind of in the middle of a quite demanding crime. I'm driving like a maniac. I'm on a high-speed chase, and you want me to desist so you can stuff your fatty face? Why don't you phone these cops and tell them to calm down? And maybe then I'll have the time to ferry you around. I'll phone you when it's over, if I don't hit a wall. And then I'll show you just where you can stick your bowling ball.
Nico, it's your cousin. Why don't you take me bowling? And afterwards we'll go get drunk and go rock-a-rolling. Cousin, it's your cousin. Let's get a bleeder burger and wash away the taste of all that carnage, crime and murder. Nico, it's your cousin. Why don't you take me bowling? I nasi Roman no blood clots. Nico, it's your cousin. Why don't you take me bowling? Great, another freeloading shit. Yeah. Slave to the new black gold, there's a heartbeat under my skin. Search my electric soul for the hidden man within. Slave to the new black gold, there's a heartbeat under my skin.